What is up, my friends? Hope everybody is doing well. It is Monday night. I'm a little bit hoarse, but you can enjoy my squeaky voice. We're here for our anchor message for the week. So every Monday is our anchor message day. On Sunday night, I do my energy oracle forecast for the week, and it gives us a look at sort of the spiritual weather ahead for the next several days. And then our anchor message goes deeper into the spiritual lessons that are going to be on our plate for the week. And we use the wild unknown archetypes to center in on our lessons, and then we clarify with some tarot. And I'm using the Mystical Moments Tarot, which I love the artwork in this particular deck. So we will get started. At first, I would like to say welcome to all the new subscribers. I'm so excited to see new joiners. I have recently started a TikTok just this week, really. Over the past few days, and a lot of people from TikTok are coming over and subscribing, so thank you, all very exciting. And to my OGs, my crew who've been here with me, I have a TikTok now, don't miss out on it. There's actual different content from the channel, and I'm doing a single card pull every afternoon using a lot of different decks that I don't use on this channel. So it's a whole other layer of Liz. So be sure to join me there. And on TikTok, I am Liz_Taylor_Magick. Just like Instagram, my more active Instagram. On Light Love Magic Instagram, I have to be honest, I don't see the messages that often, so they get buried. So I apologize. I haven't been able to get into my messages recently and check them all. So if you've been trying to reach me, I'm sorry, but I appreciate everyone's participation and comments and likes and shares and subscribes. Yay, let's just jump right in. So for this week, we've got the Flame. That matches my shirt. I like this combination. The Flame, the Father, which is no surprise. Father healing has been coming up the last couple of weeks. It's been on and off with Mother healing. And guess what? Mother healing, the Mother. So Flame, Father, the Mother have come up this week. Underneath the Flame, we've got the Hanged Man. Underneath Father, we've got the Eight of Pentacles. And underneath the Mother, we have Ace of Cups. Okay, so many layers. I have copied and pasted our Instagram blog in the description. I would actually recommend reading that tonight, if you have time, if you're curious. There's the way it's written is probably not going to be the way that I talk about it, and you'll find different things in the written message. So I would recommend reading that this time. Okay, so the Flame. The Flame is our inner vitality. It's our spark. It's our motivation. It's our moxie. It's our pimp juice. It's our mojo. It's that spark of the light of the Creator that burns within each of us. And this flame is a representation of our vitality, of our passion, of our enthusiasm, of our energy levels, of our feeling of reverence for life. This is when you find awe in life as you look around in the mundane. That's God-fearing. That's seeing the majesty and the magnificence and the complexity and the simplicity and the beauty everywhere, that the Creator is just within all things. And that light of the Creator is within all things. And so we are the vessel. The light, so the universe, creation, existence, what holds the universe, what's outside of the universe, all of it is basically consisted of two parts: the light and the vessel. Now, if you want to go deeper, it's really all just one part. But in the beginning, everything was unified in one unified whole. And the creator, in a growing state of consciousness and building tension and pressure and angst and an urge to want to give and receive, like share and spill out over and express, right? Have you ever felt like you had so much love trapped inside and you hadn't had an outlet to show it to in a while, and you were just, it was just eating you up inside. You just needed to show someone affection or do something, you just, it needed to get out of you. You were so full of love, like you didn't know where to direct it. That's like the creator. The creator overflowed into what became the vessel, right? The creator separated and made a space, a divine feminine container, a womb, to receive the light, so that the light could share, interact, have someone, other to connect to and to share with. So we are the vessel for the light, and everything around us is vessels for the light. This whole existence is a vessel for the light. So we're just mirroring that truth everywhere. And the light of the creator is like full force within us. It's like this flowing spring, but it's the density of life, the grime and the grit that builds up from lifetimes of wounds that we carry over, tikkun healing and process that we need to correct in each life. That's that soul healing and balancing. There is limiting beliefs from our childhood and our adolescence, and then the compounding beliefs that get added onto those in our adult life, right? There's unconscious programming. There are fears, feelings or assumptions that we lack in ways that we doubt and we don't have certainty. And so this, we're going to call it negativity, creates shells and veils and grime around this light, this candle. And it threatens to sort of kind of dim it down. There's not enough oxygen, there's not enough expansion space for that flame to breathe. It gets snuffed out and it gets dimmed. We're hiding that light under the bushel basket at that point. And so the process of our soul ascension and expansion and healing, it's all about shedding those layers of negativity and breaking through those shells so that we can reveal the light that's already there within, right? That fulfillment, it's not going to come from outside. The healing, like we can take actions and incorporate disciplines and devotions that will help, but ultimately the light is coming from within. And so outside vessels, they'll never give us the validation that we need, So this is about tending to that flame. Now, one of the ways that I look at this as well, it's not just like in the book, it says, like, if you find that you're like not seeing the awe or the magic in life around you, like your flame has gone dim. And I think it's when we let our consciousness go and we're not on top of maintaining and curating our thoughts and our feelings and our consciousness. And so the storms of life blow us around and we get tired and we get distracted and we get on autopilot, and then our feelings and our tired ego thoughts start coming in and they start playing on us, and our fire starts to dim. And it's like it takes devotion and discipline to cup that and protect that flame, to keep it lit and to keep it strong, because this is representative of our vibration, but also our desire, our lust for life, our desire to create, to share, to manifest, to put our God-given gifts and talents into a purposeful use that, can bring good to the world that wasn't there before. So we are, the stewards of this flame. And so without desire, that's the driving magnetic force of manifestation. It's the driving force that gives us drive and perseverance, right? When we're not connected with why we're doing something, it's like our passion dies, and we don't have, like, without passion for what we're doing, we can't keep up the motivation to keep going. It takes so much strength and discipline and devotion to get through just the toil of being human. And so, just like our vibration, we learn to hold it sacred. Because when you start working on yourself and you start really taking care of managing your thoughts and your feelings and your vibration so that you're in resonance with like things that you want to call in, and you're in resonance with your higher self, and you're having more affinity with the light, and that puts you in that cosmic flow of ease and certainty and harmony and fulfillment and manifestation, rather than dissonance, turbulence, chaos, disruption, separation. So it's up to us to guard that flame. So that means that as you go into each day, you need to set your consciousness as soon as you wake up in the morning. Set it with gratitude, set it with joy, set it with love, set it with excitement. What are you loving about the day? What do you love to do? What fills you up with a sense of love and nourishment and makes your soul feel full, right? What are you grateful for? What do you take for granted that you should be grateful for? Those are very powerful, magnetic, creative energies to set yourself on. And so what we need to learn how to do is self-master. Self-master our thought realm. Self-master our emotional realm. And that's not burying things down, and it's not bypassing. It's like we acknowledge the feelings and we feel the feelings, but we don't get lost in the story, and we don't hold on and make up stories and then keep circling around those. And it builds up bitterness and patterns and lowers our vibration. But instead, we acknowledge those, we feel them, but we try to learn something from that, and we try to evolve from that. We try to change in a positive way, and we try to do what we need to do once we observe what we've learned from that feeling. And it's like, is this surface level trigger really the root issue here, or is there something else underlying this? Is this a mundane issue that needs to be addressed, right? But think about that. And so when I'm practicing and when I'm conscious, I like to remember that when I go into any different place, it's easier at home when you're alone, or, when you're spending time alone. But when you're about to, everybody's coming home from, work and school, and the family's going to be crazy and you're tired, or when you go at work and, everybody's going to have their baggage there, and everybody's already getting on your nerves before you even get there. Traffic, right? Before you show up in any given place, you just determine in yourself that you're going to set the vibrational thermostat for that place, and you're going to be the strongest influence there, because you're going to be unwavering. You're going to be unchanging. And you're not going to let your feathers get ruffled, and you're not going to be sucked into outer appearances, because we know that the physical reality is very malleable. Change the energy, change the vibration of a situation, and the physical can change like that. Circumstances can turn around within an instant. It's the miracle zone. You're in a flow of miracles at that point. When you're certain in the Creator that something can change at that quick, and everything's just going to fall into place anyway, and no matter what is happening, it's unfolding for you. That's the miracle zone to be in. That's how you protect that flame. It's when you start letting people get under your skin, when you start getting disheartened, when you start getting tired and you're over it and you're giving up. Let me tell you, when something's hard and you push through and you still show up when I show up to make the video when I'm tired, that's the day that someone's going to get the most out of it. When something is hardest for you, that's where the most light can be revealed. So the thing that is, when you're most tired, when you don't feel like it, when your pride is fighting you the most, when something is the hardest thing to kick, when it's the hardest addiction, when it's the deepest wound, and you can finally heal those things, it like gives you like those Super Mario powers where it's like extra spiritual points, extra spiritual power that comes from that. So don't shy away from difficulty. Now, the Hanged Man being under this, and especially in regards to the mother and father healing that follow, it's like saying that right now, especially we're in the midst of a lot of retrogrades happening. I feel like that's just like always the case. If we're not in retrograde, we're in one of the Hebrew high holiday windows of time where we're really challenged. More light will be revealed. So I feel like we're always just like in hard times. So you have to be able to have the ability to sustain a paradox. The mystic can hold sorrow in one hand and joy in the other, and be able to reconcile these things, because life is always throwing us everything at once, and we don't get those neat, convenient, compartmentalized life events, or circumstances. So the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is a pause in activity, or a seeming pause in activity, and it happens for the sake of giving us a moment to really recenter, recalibrate, and change and shift our perspective, to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, essentially. Or in this case, we're in a season known as Dashuva. This is like a 40-day period leading up to Rosh Hashanah of deep self-reflection and self-evaluation. And this is because on Rosh Hashanah, this is the birthday of all mankind and the birth of creation. And this is when all souls were created through that one universal human's first soul, Adam. And so on this day, we all go through this sort of judgment day. But in the process of that, we get basically a soul dry cleaning, and we get a fresh, clean, new soul. Now, this pause in activity, right, is so that we can reflect on our patterns and the ways that we self-sabotage and our toxicity and our negativity, so that come Rosh Hashanah, we have our new soul. An hour later, we don't stain it up with the same pattern, with the same short circuit, right? And so the benefit of having this new soul is that it's like we have this clean slate to build from, and we have all this new possibility to grow into that potential, to receive like the ultimate year of fulfillment, a better year than last year, more blessing, more abundance. But it does take our participation. It's up to us to be able to make those changes and that transformation. And it doesn't happen on our own. We can't do any of this alone. But what we do is we actively and proactively go after these things that we want to change in ourselves. And we pray for the assistance of the Creator. And we pray for the assistance of the angels. And we use every tool in our belt, which includes the rituals, which are the physical technologies that help elevate the sparks of light and do that soul work with us. And then there is the ritual foods, which that's another spiritual technology we use, because there are sparks of light that are revealed in the food, and each food has its certain frequency and this level of light that is revealed when we eat this food. There's a lot of deep secrets behind it, but essentially that's what's going on when you're eating ritual food. And the more that you know about what it's doing, the more powerful it is as you hold that consciousness as you eat the food. So, long story short, Hanged Man. We're in a period of kind of quiet time where it feels like, nothing in our manifestation world is moving through. The things that we really want, like I'm supposed to be up leveling, like I feel like nothing's really happening. And it is going to happen. It's just that the universe is giving us a chance to get our energetic shit together, get our mindset right, get our heart set right, and set our vibration the way we want to kindle our fire, right? And to get into a good routine and discipline of having that spiritual practice throughout the day. Every morning, have a little routine where you set your intentions. You maybe write your prayers out or speak them out. Have a prayer routine, have a gratitude routine. Even if you can study Bible or Zohar, scan Hebrew, all of those things help you set your consciousness right for the day. Then you're going to want to check in throughout the day. I like to have prayers throughout the day. I like to check in with myself, and I like to have a prayer practice at night where I think about the things that I'm proactively trying to change in myself. And so I can set my vibration and I can set my energetic thermostat so that I know what I'm calling in, and I can keep checking in, because it's a constant discipline and devotion. You know, it's so easy for us to slip back into, I'm tired, you know, I'm salty, I'm angry, I'm enraged. Suddenly I'm in a downward spiral and everything is erupting and chaos is all around, right? Oh no, my tire went and I've got to get an oil change and now this thing came up, right? That's how that stuff starts happening. So this is a moment, a gift to take a breath, change your perspective, self-reflect, do this healing work, because the next wave of things, the next windfall, relationships are waiting to come in, opportunities, next level you is waiting, but it's giving you this compassionate moment to set yourself up for success, to give yourself the best shot. When we go into the restaurant every night, at the beginning of the shift, we have an hour or so to do what's called mise en place. And this is where you prepare and you get everything stocked and you polish everything and you make sure everything's just perfect. You get the candles lit and you make sure all the water is out and ready, and you prepare to receive, you know, and to host. And so that's what we're doing. We're getting everything in place. So we have that new soul ready to receive that new soul, ready for the feast, ready to enjoy, to celebrate, to receive the blessings to come for the year, right? But we have to prepare the table. All right. Now, two of the big key things that we've been doing, well, a four-parter actually. We've been doing inner child healing, which helps us get to the root of a lot of the subconscious stuff that's our unconscious motivators that are driving us, which came mostly from, I mean, it doesn't mean that we didn't have other adults in our lives or other mean kids that influenced us, teachers that said things that they didn't think about, even just adults being adults and not thinking about like how kids might hear adult conversations that are things that adults can handle, but children are like overwhelmed by the complexity of that kind of, maybe just like talking about, oh, the mortgage, we've got to get a loan and all that stuff. And I remember hearing these things growing up, and it was just, I was in terror thinking about these adult stresses and, you know, all of that overwhelm for small children. We don't think about the fact that they physically cannot handle that in their brains. Their brains are not developed enough to handle those kinds of complex issues. And so as children, we just even overhear benign things that were never meant in any kind of destructive way. And we take on beliefs. Oh, scary owning a home. You could lose it. It's going to have expensive costs, right? And then you've gotten this unconscious like inner conflicting desire where you're like, I want to buy a home, but I can never come up with the mortgage. I can never come up with like the down payment. There's always something that prevents me. And it's like, that's your subconscious doing things that you can never connect, that sabotage you or even create situations around you that prevent you from buying the home, because your ego and your subconscious believe that it's protecting you from ultimate like death, failure. Everything's going to go horribly wrong. Everything's at stake, right? So this is how those things happen. So we're getting rid, or we're examining these unconscious beliefs so that we can do our best to start fresh and start off on a fresh foot, clean slate. We are looking at our shadow self, and we are reintegrating the things that we have hidden or rejected about ourselves because we were afraid that we would be rejected for those things. You know, maybe we were shamed for them. Maybe we were rejected. Maybe we saw other people shamed or rejected for those things. And we were like, I don't want that to happen to me. You know, so we did that, you know, just from observing someone else. We stuck different things about ourselves in our shadow. This can be, I don't want to be too talented. I don't want to outshine my friends or my siblings. I don't want them to feel threatened. That, you know, you can put good parts of yourself in your shadow, as well as the parts that you think or you are labeling as the undesirable parts, right? So we're reintegrating the shadow. Another part of Dashuva, which is that self-preparation time. And this is also in alignment with the to be magnetic work, with the magnetic self-challenge. I love to be magnetic work and Kabbalah go hand in hand to me. I'm really curious if Lacey Phillips studied Kabbalah before she came up with her system. So reintegrating the shadow. We're also, we're getting a vision of that higher self, that spirit self that's the most healed and like the ultimate potential of our like unique expression, as if we had never had those fears or those wounds or those limiting beliefs, right? As if we'd grown up in a bubble where we had absolute confidence and everything, like no reason to have any doubts, and no reason to have any jealousy or competitiveness. We had no fears. What if we had no insecurities, no hangups? What if we didn't take anything personally? My God, what if we had no doubt in our capability to be resourceful or to learn or to like pull something off or to face failure and continue on and let it go? Like, what if we were that unencumbered, right? It's like, imagine that self and start faking it until you make it, right? That's where we're trying to start doing the transformation work so we can change the smaller self that is pulled. The strings are just pulled by the ego and by the opponent, and by our demons. We're just like these little puppets, like being like tricked into these reactive states all day, and the energy vampires are just sucking our life force, right? They're sucking and dimming our flame. They're burning down our candle. So we have to protect that, right? I skipped forward to the projection of the higher self. But the other component of the evaluation is or at least this is something that's been coming up for us. It's not necessarily something that's specific to Dashuva, but I think it is for us within our soul group, right? So father healing and mother healing have been coming up. And the father wound, I've been learning and realizing that this is, a direct connection to our relationship with the divine masculine, or the not divine, the toxic masculine energy in our life. And so the father is the masculine. It's the outer expression of how we are, our behaviors, how we show up for life, how we show up and behave within our relationships. And so the father is like our ability to take action, to protect, to provide for, to nurture in that way, to give, to share. The light is like in the masculine force, it's like that light shooting into the container of reality. That container of reality, the womb, that's the feminine. So our father wound, it has an effect on how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves, but not as much as the mother wound. The father wound, how it manifests is how we show up and how we act. How do we behave? What actions do we take? Where do we self-sabotage? Now, sometimes this can be actually mirroring the father's behavior. If we saw our father be aggressive, scary, intimidating, like maybe he had a bad temper and he would snap, and maybe you have sort of become a lot of those things. Maybe, I find myself doing this. I find myself being intimidating by accident, or getting in my own head and in my own tunnel vision and having my temper flare and being snippy and getting, and that's when I'm getting like self-centered, focused on the self. And so I can repeat that behavior that I saw in my father, even though I don't agree with it, even though it hurt, And so it's like we kind of play out the way that we've been hurt in a way, unless we consciously heal that. And so we can even justify our behavior in the same way that our father did, or the same way that our mother justified it on behalf of our father. Oh, your father doesn't mean to hurt you. He's just this, he's just that. He's under pressure. You'll find yourself giving the same excuses, right? So that's the way that you were taught subconsciously. It's not like anybody said, no, this is how you do this. It's just, this is what we experienced. This was the drill. This was the paradigm we were given. So we have to be aware of that. The Father, I'll hold off. Well, actually, no, I'm just going to incorporate this now. So the 8 of Pentacles coming up with the father wound, I feel like in the obvious way, this is like saying like, we're really learning more about how the father wound is affecting us and the way we show up in the world. And we're really doing a lot of work on this. It's like the universe is like, I see that you're really working on this, but we're making progress. The 8 of Pentacles is about putting an effort in, and it's a long haul. Like, it's an ongoing thing. It can be, the apprentice card, or the beginning of a long-term project that you're working on, or refining your skills or self-mastery. But it's about putting a devotion in to refining a craft. It's about doing, it's about taking action. It's the hand to work. So we are healing, we are learning, more about our patterns and our self-sabotage. One of the ways the father wound has been manifesting, and one of the cards that have been coming up to show us this, is the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands energy and this father wound kind of has this effect on us where it's caused us to do behaviors that end up dissipating our energy and squandering our resources and our efforts because we're not focused. It's like we have shiny object syndrome and we can't commit. It's like we're non-committal, we're not focused, we're not wise or intentional about where we're directing our resources and our energy. So it's like we're squandering it. It can also be like, I don't know which career path to follow. I don't know which idea to create right now. I want to do this. No, I'm interested in this now. I'm going to do this. And it's like you never really like go deep in something because you keep scattering your energies instead of going deep, instead of mastering something. This can also show up as like having that whole player energy where you can't commit to a relationship, or, you have an absolute fear of commitment, and it's not about being wise and not settling for the wrong relationship. There's a difference, right? But when you're like, oh, I'm terrified of commitment, once you like someone, it's like, oh, you're on to the next person, constantly on to the next person. It's like you're constantly trying to fill that void with putting your attention on something else or having that attention on you. And so, if your father was a workaholic, maybe you have workaholic tendencies now. Maybe you're avoiding something by just constantly workaholism, or you are putting off emotional like building your relationships, because I've got to work on these issues, or I'm too busy, or whatever. So it can be an avoidant energy. The father as an archetype is, when healthy, shows up as honest, devoted, nurturing, loyal. Hold on, let me read. So I didn't want to miss that. Let's see. I'll just read it really quick. So the father, the great father, God, the masculine, the protector. Alongside the mother, the father resides in the central axis of the archetypal family. The father embodies both light and dark aspects of the masculine. Thus, he is infinitely dynamic and complex. His energy is strong and regal, embodying such virtues as honesty, wisdom, and loyalty. Yet, ironically and simultaneously, the father is often absent, literally or emotionally. So think about how you're working on showing up with more honesty, more wisdom in what you're putting your intention on and what you're putting your resources in and how you're handling things, right? How can you be more loyal, consistent, devoted? But really, like, how are you avoidant? How do you self-abandon? How do you abandon your projects, right? That shiny object syndrome, that's a form of abandonment. It's also a form of avoidance, right? So how are you being absent, checked out, avoidant, non-committal? And think about that. And so think about the fact that too, the father is stuck with this duality of being both the hero and the disappointment all in one. And it's impossible for the father not to be both. That's the cost of being the father. And I think that the more that we heal, we understand that this is, and have compassion for those sides of us. Like we forgive ourselves for our, as we heal, our non-committalness, our avoidance, our absence, our self-abandonment, abandonment of our goals and dreams, those self-sabotaging tendencies. The more that we understand, that is like the archetypal pitfalls of the divine masculine, we can forgive and heal those tendencies within us, but it gives us more compassion and understanding and empathy for not only our fathers, and we can heal that father wound, and we can start forgiving the father of the debt of being that archetypal father and accepting the father as a human man. And also, and we forgive ourselves of that, but when we also forgive our father. And so that helps alleviate, we start breaking these patterns, and we start overcoming the challenges that are interrelated to those father issues, right? To the daddy issues. Now, mother healing is coming up this week as well. And paired with the Ace of Cups, it's like, healing is happening. Emotional renewal, right? You might literally be having a renewed or healed relationship with your mother as a result of this. And so the mother wound has to do with, it affects the way that we feel about ourselves. This is the feminine. So think about, your internal world, how you feel, how you believe. Are you willing to trust? Do you trust your intuition? Are you really connected with those instincts and that intuition? Are you nurturing enough, or are you overly nurturing? Do you overgive? Sometimes the feminine wound can result in this toxic passivity, or it can shut us off to our ability to receive at all. Or it can limit our ability to receive, if we don't think we deserve. Or it can be the opposite. We can think we're entitled, and we can be overly passive and want someone to do everything for us, and want someone to make all the decisions for us and tell us what to do, So there's the toxic femininity as well, that's usually comes as a polarized answer to the toxic masculine energy of being overly controlling, overly domineering, overly aggressive, heated, full of anger. The flame talks about if the flame is dark, it can be, you can either be, the flame is snuffed out completely and you're in total darkness, or you can have an overabundance of fire, and it can be like rage and like anger issues. Or, too much lust or whatever. Okay, so emotional renewal, healing, a new relationship, new possibilities opening up, heart opening, all of it. So the mother wound affects the way we feel about ourselves. This has an effect on our self-worth and our sense of deserving, right? And our ability to receive and our ability to have confidence. What dynamics did you witness between your mother and father? What dynamics did you share with your mother? The mother can be nurturing and giving, and a teacher, and encouraging, and creative, and giving and sharing. But the mother can also be controlling, restrictive, smothering. It can be snippy. Like if the feminine overgives, like Queen of Cups can overgive, over nurture, then you're depleted, and then you're needy, and then your boundaries aren't strong. So healthy mother healing helps you set healthy boundaries where you're not closed off, but you're also not so open that you will deplete yourself, or overgive, or be walked all over. You will also know those boundaries to respect for others, right? You won't control, you won't hone in or hover, you won't try to meddle or restrict, you won't suffocate or cling. You know, the healthy mother lets go. The healthy mother pushes the birds out of the nest so that they can fly. The healthy mother teaches the young how to survive and hunt and provide for the self. The toxic mother wants to keep the birds in the nest. The birds are crippled. You know, the birds don't know how to hunt for themselves. The mother over nurtures, right? And then that mother gets strained. Maybe that mother doesn't have the self-worth to ask for help or feel like she deserves help. So she tries to take on everything herself and be perfect, be the perfect mother and the perfect wife and the perfect family unit and the perfect housekeeper and the perfect career woman. And that is the dilemma of most women right now that are dying inside, and their flame is just completely out because they haven't been able to ask for help. They haven't been able to say no. They haven't been able to delegate or to share the load or the burden, or they don't receive for themselves. Or they don't prioritize themselves because they love everyone so much, right? So you must give yourself the nourishment to be able to overflow. It's when we have our cup is full that we can overflow and really share from a place of giving, not share from a place of transactionalism or obligation or strings attached or contractual. You know, it's like you have enough for yourself and more than enough to share and give out. Otherwise, you're at risk of enmeshment and codependency, because codependency is not always needing someone to give to you. Sometimes codependency can be over giving to someone else because you think that is going to give you value or your worth, right? You think that's where your worth comes from. That's what's validating you, or you think that's necessary. You think that you're saving someone else. It's like if you're the savior complex, like that's a codependent relationship too. Codependent relationships are relationships where there's like this dynamic that requires two people to keep going at this thing together. It depends on both people to continue. So it's healing codependency as well. So I'm going to read the mother card here. The great mother, the feminine, the source. We begin our archetypal story with the mother's love. Through her sensual, fertile, and life-giving energy, all creation takes form. Regardless of our birth story, each of our hearts beat for the first time in the warm womb of the mother, where she offered resources from her body for the building of our own. Yet her tale is not so simple, as the mother, especially on the earthly plane, contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. With the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives, yet clings. She creates, yet restricts. Amid the complex energy, the mother holds the key to the eternal challenge of love. Something I want to mention. So in the tree of life, in the glyph of the tree of life, the supernal triad are the primal origin energies of the universe. It's like how red, yellow, and blue are the primary colors, and all colors are made from that. Same. It's the divine light of the creator, and then there's the supernal masculine energy where the creator came through into this space and was like pure unadulterated chaos. No shape, no form, no nothing. It's just like jizz on everything. Divine, but like absolute unadulterated masculine force. Out of control. This is we need something to contain this. Enter supernal feminine. The supernal feminine is also referred to as the infertile mother, the dark infertile mother. because she doesn't have children of her own. She's the universal mother that holds the universe, that holds existence. So that supernal feminine energy basically is boundary. It gives restriction. It catches that masculine force, right? All that creator jizz everywhere. Ectoplasm on everything, right? That light of the creator, that's that life juice of everything. It needed something. So the divine feminine became a container for that masculine energy so that it could contain it and restrict it and give it form and give it shape and give it something to gestate in, to create from. This is why in sitcoms, the dumbass husband is always like, dumbass husband. And then the wife is always like, I'm going to be the stern one. I'm going to be the reality check. I'm the wet blanket of the party. It comes from an archetypal truth within, and we don't even realize it. But yeah, it's such a drag, but it's so true. That's why it's always up to the woman to pace the relationship. It's like she makes the man think that he's pacing the relationship, but she has to pace it. You know, it's like you have to that's like why so many men are like wild and they're unfocused. And then when they're ready to settle down, it's like that feminine that they found, like she can manifest his vision. That's the ultimate purpose of the divine feminine energy, is to manifest the masculine vision, right? It's the feminine is the magic, it's the spiritual, it's the energy, it's the container that nurtures the action taken on the outside. And so this is all happening within us, and then it's happening in our dynamics in the outer world, and then it's happening in our interrelational dynamics with each other. So yeah, a lot of balancing going on, especially when you consider that we all have different doses of masculine and feminine energy within us that we sort of have to reconcile and bring into the right balance for us. You know, it's different for everybody. But it's about learning how to really tune in to the intuition, develop that spiritual connection within, get in touch with our feelings and our emotions and be able to express that and be able to get a hit of divine inspiration and be comfortable with the absurdity of it not making sense and having the faith to take that leap of faith. And the masculine energy within each of us is that ability to be like, okay, I've got my feminine insight here, and now I'm going to take action on this, and I'm going to protect this, I'm going to nurture this, or whatever it is. And it's like, then the feminine energy is there, like as also like a nurturer, right? So you, at any given time, we are trying to be, you know, competent at both the spiritual and the physical in life. We need to be both. That's what the Temperance card talks about. So I think I've talked enough. I think we've covered everything. Healing these wounds this week, it's going to give us more of ability to have healthier relationships and get further in our dreams and goals, right? And so, and to be able to stoke this flame and keep that flame healthy, when it's the desire that creates, right? Without desire, there's no real gasoline behind anything that we're doing. So we have to desire that connection with the creator in order to take action to create it and to create that relationship, right? We have to desire to build our dreams, or else it's easier to just not have any, right? We have to desire a healthy relationship and keep making an effort, or else it's going to become an unhealthy relationship. If we want to have a relationship, we have to desire it enough to go out and put ourselves out there, to take chances, to meet people, to get to know people. Otherwise, it's easier to just not. It saves a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of heartache to not, but you'll have the same but different heartache later. So keep that desire stoked, protect that flame. All right, y'all. Sorry, this one went long. Watch it in intervals. Watch it while you're getting ready. Listen to me in the shower. All right, be good, but not too good. Ciao.